Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another weekly wrap-up. No comments about weather today. We'll just leave that one well alone. So first, let's welcome co-host Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Peter. Thank you. And thank you all so very much for tuning in. We so appreciate having you. And Peter, you know what I want to talk about today?
What do you want to talk about today?
Bread.
Bread.
Yes.
You
You
mean
like
the
bread?
bread we... Well, I like both kinds of bread, although perhaps this is an English terminology, but there were two kinds of bread. One you eat and one you spend or put in the bank, right?
No,
Which
that's
which
dough.
I was at dough in European culture it was more often bread than dough. So
Was
the one you spend, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I know which one you want to talk about, so you go for it, Kathleen.
Well, this is another article from Mercola, and we will provide the link below this video. And it's really a lot of people these days, Peter, have you noticed, cannot digest bread or they feel so uncomfortable after eating any amount of bread. And why is that? When our ancestors ate piles of bread. In fact, our ancestors consume so many large quantities of bread, up to 16 pounds weekly for men and 8 pounds for women in the 1880s.
Wow.
Without widespread digestive issues seen today. So today, bread has a very different reputation. So once considered a fundamental food, it's now often avoided because it causes various health problems from bloating to brain fog to more serious conditions such as celiac disease and non-celiac gluten sensitivities. So pre-harvest, they say pre-harvest desiccation with glyphosate, which by the way has increased 400% in 2 decades, leaves residue in wheat products that may disrupt the gut biome and contribute to digestive disorders. So they say here, modern wheat varieties have been selectively bred for higher yields and industrial processing compatibility rather than nutritional value or digestibility. So the shift from slow fermentation methods to quick rise commercial yeast has also eliminated the microbial diversity and protein breakdown that made traditional bread nutritious and easier to digest. So when they say enriched flour, we see that everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Contains synthetic nutrients and iron shards. Yep, you heard
Iron
right.
shards.
I'm not kidding you. Iron shards, they call it ferrous sulfate, that
Mm-hmm.
can contribute to oxidative stress and may not provide the intended health benefits. So most modern flour has been stripped of its natural nutrients during processing, then artificially enriched with synthetic versions. So bread, flour, pasta, cereals, and most packaged foods now contain these iron shavings that have been artificially added as ferrous sulfate due to federal law since 1941. Can you imagine? So most commercial bread contains hidden additives like inflammatory seed oils and harmful chemicals like potassium bromate, which, by the way, has been banned in many countries, but not in the US. So what's the answer here, Peter? So they're suggesting traditional sourdough fermentation breaks down gluten proteins by more than 50% over 24 hours, making bread more digestible for many with sensitivities. So next time you go shopping, you may be interested in going for the sourdough bread.
Interesting.
Yep.
Um, on that one, many people, many households buy these bread making machines and make their own bread.
Mhm.
And I think there's a pre-prepared mix that you use it with your flour and then you put your yeast in there. Have you any idea if that's a lot healthier than commercial bread?
Well, I can only assume that it may be somewhat healthier simply because you are making at home and you know what's going in it. However, it's about the wheat,
Yes.
right? It's about the wheat. So it's about the flour, basically,
Yeah.
that you're using. So from that standpoint, is it healthier? I'm not sure, Peter.
It
And
depends.
It used to be a real craze, come to think of it. These bread machines
Yeah,
were
yeah.
really hot in the 90s.
Hmm.
It seemed like every house, in fact, I still have one. Uh,
You really?
I certainly do. Um, every household seemed to be right into these bread machines, and you're now seeing them more people getting out of that. So I'm not sure
Mm.
why that's
I can. While you've been talking, that reminded me that I can actually answer my own question because my daughter-in-law recently bought a bread making machine, and she and my son and their kids are vegan and have been for several years. She makes her own bread, but she buys organically prepared flour. It's like a whole wheat. It's an off-white brownish flour,
Mhm.
and she has an organic yeast or a special yeast. All the ingredients are either organic or healthy, and she swears by it. So yes. And then, of course, going back to commercial bread, when many years ago in the corporate world, I worked in the sugar industry in South Africa, and the bread manufacturers used to put some sugar into bread, right, to as food for the yeast. And of course, the yeast didn't consume all the sugar, so some of that sugar remained in the finished bread once it was prepared for sale. So again, and it makes the bread taste better for most people too. So higher sugar content. Interesting stuff.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, on my intermittent fasting and my healthy diet, I eat very little bread. Um, maybe one piece a day at lunch. That's it. So yeah, I keep off it.
I have significantly reduced my consumption of bread, but I still love it. I really
Oh
do.
yeah. Oh
And
sure.
some people are more sensitive to it than others.
Mm.
I don't seem to have that kind of sensitivity, but I know many people that do, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. So, Peter,
Well, I've got to tell you quickly before you finish, and you'll probably enjoy the same thing in Ireland. When I go to England, I really enjoy a ploughman's lunch at a pub where you have those thick slices of lovely bread with
yes,
cheese and pickles and all sorts. Do you get the same thing in Ireland?
yes, they have
Yeah.
they have sourdough bread. They call soda bread. Actually, soda bread is what they have,
Hmm.
which is um, which is a lovely bread. You have that for breakfast. Yeah,
Nice,
good.
nice, good. Well, that's bread. So, what have you got for our health tip for this week?
Well, Peter, I want to give Dr. Morris a plug here because he's a wonderful mentor of ours. And today
Hmm.
I'm going to talk about the GI Broom. There's GI Daily. So this big guy here. This guy is an herbal laxative, but a lymphatic puller. So it
Hmm.
functions to remove the buildup, that sludge that builds up in the intestinal wall. That's what this does. This one is just more of a gentle, everyday use that helps your body, process foods and that. So both of these, if you are interested in getting these products, all you have to do is go to the Dr. Morse website and also plug in the code Yakking Show, and you will get a discount on all of your products.
That's right. You
That's
will
right.
indeed. And
Yes,
we will put those details in the description below the video.
right.
Good.
All
Any
of
more
these,
on any
all of
more on
these are
health
great for detoxification, Peter, which, it's coming on to spring. Well, it is spring,
this
actually.
spring? Yeah,
One
despite
would
the weather,
wonder.
it's spring.
That's right, which is a great time to not only clean your house, but clean your body as well. So
Great. Good. Any more?
that's it from me, Peter.
I've got an interesting little health tidbit that I picked up just this morning, scanning through some newsletters, and I was looking at Epoch Health, and it said there that singing could be good for your health. And I thought, well, my singing could be dangerous to my health. But anyway,
Or
the
to
reasons
someone
for the
else's.
yeah, or someone else's. Well, it'd be dangerous to my health if someone else heard it and took action to stop it.
Recognize this. That was mean.
No, that's fine. But what they say, believe it or not, there's research. It's not 100% conclusive, but there's strong indications that singing helps people with COPD because it helps them breathe better, right, and fill their lungs better, and and also Parkinson's. And I'm not sure the connection with Parkinson's, but they've noticed that people who practice singing regularly to themselves, you don't have to be a professional, it helps quell the tremors that affect people with Parkinson's.
interesting.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. So there's two. It helps your breathing for people with COPD, and it can help, they believe, people with Parkinson's. So I'll put a link to that in the newsletter as well.
There's something very therapeutic about singing in general, but have you ever heard that people who stammer a lot, when they sing, they lose the stammer,
That's right. That's
right?
right. Yep.
Which is
And
interesting.
very, because there was that movie about King George, wasn't it, with the
That's right.
stammer, and that's I think how they helped him get over it. But also, when you sing, you lose your accent, right?
True. True.
Although that's more or less true. But then when you look at some French singers like Edith Piaf going back many years, I mean, you could still tell that she had a French accent, right? Or maybe
Oh,
that was the
sure.
style of singing. I don't know. But I know that generally speaking, if you take someone from Europe and someone from America singing the same song, it's hard to tell which is which, right? Interesting one.
Yeah.
Good. I certainly won't be doing a lot of singing. I was told in junior school that I was awful. I sing or play a musical instrument, so that stuck with me for most of my life.
Oh, Peter, that's terrible.
Might have ruined a whole maestro career, Anyway, let's get back to what happened on the Yakking Show this week. Well, being the second week, we published an episode with a guest on Tuesday, and that was an episode with Logan Wright, my namesake, who is the co-founder of Greco gum, which is a mastic gum, and it comes from the resin of a tree that only grows on the Greek island of Chios in the Mediterranean, and it has many therapeutic benefits. I won't go into all the benefits now. You need to listen to or watch the episode, and you'll find out why chewing mastic gum is good for you in many different ways, not just for exercising your jaw. Many, many advantages. In 2 weeks' time, we will have Dr. Carol Rems, who is a real character. This is going to be a hot episode because her topic is how to have the best sex ever after menopause. And it's interesting for both women and men to watch or listen to that episode. She also has a blog post, goes into more detail, and that will be published in the same week. So that'll be coming up in 2 weeks' time. Let's look at our book. Our featured author this week is Jenny Powers from episode 432 early this year on the origin of being. I find this an absolutely fascinating book, and it was a fascinating episode. She talks about how our societal evolution has way outpaced our biological evolution. So we are trying to live in the 21st century with bodies and to a degree brains that were designed for living 2 or 3 thousand years ago. And this is why we have so many, partly the reason why we have so many health issues, why people have stress. She also goes into the nature of work, and she has some quite fascinating statistics on the hours worked by people in one or two of the few remaining hunter-gatherer tribes alive on the earth that have not been corrupted by Western influences, and how little time they spend surviving and working, and how much more time they have for family and recreation and sleeping. It's quite fascinating. So there'll be a link to that book in the description. And Kathleen, I think that's about it from me, except I've got to say that we are in the process of rebranding this podcast and this show. We came up with the name Yakking Show 4 years ago.
5 years.
It was 5 years ago, so
Mhm.
because we were dealing with general interest topics and more so business topics, and we were yakking to people from all over the world and many different disciplines, and it was an appropriate and relevant title. But as we've evolved, we have focused more and more on health and wellness until the point we are now exclusively focusing on health and wellness, and particularly holistic health. And we've had feedback that people were a bit confused with the Yakking Show title. So our new title going forward will be Health Declassified. We've had very positive feedback on that. We've tested it out. We've been running some episodes under both banners on two different YouTube channels and different social media channels. And in the very near future, I haven't got an exact date for you, a few things to fall into place, but we will be moving to the banner Health Declassified. And we certainly hope you enjoy it and hope you enjoy the new format. So to make sure you don't miss out, we're still running the Yakking Show newsletter. Hop onto the yakkingshow.com website and sign up for our newsletter. We only send you one a week, one email a week, but we tell you who's on this week, who's coming in 2 weeks' time, what else is happening in the health world. That's it. That's it for me. Thank you for listening. Back to you, Kathleen.
Well, thank you also very much for tuning in. And until next week, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.